one of the most important lessons in life is to understand what you're worth and what your word is worth and what is important about you as a man. And one of those lessons I learned rather in a hard way was I was working at a grocery store and had worked there for several months. I was a sacker. I was a good sacker, okay. But at any rate, it came up to prom time, and this was during the middle years of the Vietnam War. And so many of the men in the graduating class, the seniors, were already in the military. And so many of the girls at the prom had no one to take them to the prom because of that. So a lot of the guys would just get together and have a whole party of people go to the prom because of those circumstances. And so that's what we had planned on doing. But of that group that I was involved in, I was the only one that had a car. Everybody else was on foot, and we needed to drive to Houston. So I had asked my supervisor about getting that day off, and which was about a week away. And the supervisor he was not a very social person. He was unmarried, had no children, and he really didn't have any time for social events. And he told me no, that I had to work that night. And I told him it was unacceptable and I was going to leave employment. And he gave me a kind of a sharp answer, a quick answer, and I got offended and left the work that moment. So I drove home, and my father was in the front living room when I came in, and he said, "Why are you here? I thought you had to work until later in the afternoon." And I told him what happened. I told him with a strong voice, "Dad, they wouldn't give me what I needed, and I made a promise. I've got to live up to my promise." And that's when I told him that I was just going to quit. And then he looked at me and said, "Did you tell that man that you were going to work until 6 o'clock today?" And I said, "Yeah, that was the plan." "Did you give that man your word you were going to be there?" I said, "Yes, but I just left because he made me angry." And it said, "Your word doesn't disappear because of anger, son." So I went back to the grocery store and I finished out that shift until 6 o'clock. And that's the way my father was. If you made a promise, don't make it unless you intend to perform it, because there is no exception to performance of your word. And that's what I have guided myself, my son, my daughters, and I'm trying to teach my grandsons. In between that and watching videos, that kind of thing.